And thanks so much for joining us here on this Friday. I am Hayden Balgavy in for Journey Taylor alongside meteorologist Nathan Scott. Nathan, let's send it over to you, my friend. We have a very active weekend ahead of us.
Good afternoon, Hayden. The latest from the Storm Prediction Center has now upgraded the risk of severe weather for parts of Arkansas, primarily West Arkansas. But here's the newest outlook now. 3 out of 5 are enhanced from Fayetteville, Fort Smith, and also for you folks in Mena. It's still a slight risk for Arkadelphia, Little Rock, Batesville, and primarily for a large part of central Arkansas to the west of Little Rock. Here's what's happening out there right now. We have the warm and humid air mass returning from the south. Temperatures are climbing up into the 70s, seeing a few breaks in the cloud cover. Over the radar, it's pretty quiet across a large part of central Arkansas. Those storms that made their way through northwest Arkansas are dying out. What we have to keep our eye on is what's happening into Texas, and there are severe storms starting to develop now into Waco. Tornado watch has been posted right up to the border of Arkansas and Louisiana. So we'll have to see what happens with those storms as the atmosphere becomes more unstable. Here's what future radar could look like. We'll be looking out for the potential of scattered showers and storms to develop this afternoon, moving from the southwest to the northeast, and any storm could produce damaging winds, large hail, and even the potential of a tornado. I'll have more on those potential impacts and what you can expect for the weekend coming up.
Nathan, thank you. We will see you shortly. Today marks the start of the final farewell for Arkansas's former governor and U.S. Senator David Pryor. TSV 11's Makaylen Johnson joins us live from the state capitol where Pryor is lying in state. Makaylen, what more can you tell us this afternoon?
Hayden, good afternoon. Things have kind of calmed down here, but the main thing that you would notice in the early hours of the viewing are just how many people are coming by to pay their respects. When we first arrived here on the second floor of the rotunda at the Capitol, it was filled with Pryor's family, lawmakers, and friends. The former governor's impact is evident. Now, Pryor passed away this past weekend. He was 89 years old. He was one of the state's most beloved political figures, active in public service well after he left office. Here at the Capitol, he will lie in state until 4 p.m. today, and the public is welcome to come by. A celebration of life will be held at Second Presbyterian Church in Little Rock tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You can watch it live on THV11.com and the THV11 Plus app. Pryor is to be buried at Mount Holly Cemetery in downtown Little Rock. And this evening, hear from those who knew him the best. His son, Mark Pryor, telling me that his father was not only a great politician, but a great person. We're going to talk about Pryor's impact and legacy tonight at 5. For now, reporting live from the state capitol, Makaylen Johnson, back to you, Hayden.
Yeah, Arkansans from all over the state paying their respects today. Makaylen, thank you so much. And from the state capitol to the governor's mansion, where protesters gathered overnight, making a stance against Governor Sanders' support of Israel. Now, this was the scene last night. Demonstrators waving Palestinian flags, chanting for the governor to support a ceasefire in Gaza. Little Rock police were on hand, but the protest remained peaceful and ended without incident. Well, those demonstrations joined the public outcry for a ceasefire seen on college campuses around the country, with some protests spinning out of control. Now, Jason Allen shares how authorities are starting to crack down.
Overnight, Ohio State University joined the growing list of colleges demonstrating against Israel's war in Gaza. Earlier Thursday, a similar scene at Emory University. Social media video showed officers tearing down tents and appearing to use a taser on someone pinned to the ground. It came a day after more than 50 people were arrested at the University of Texas at Austin. Both police and protesters have at times crossed a line, says Greg Lukianoff, the president of the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression.
You don't have a generalized First Amendment right to, turn the public area of a campus into a camping ground. But definitely we've seen at places like Emory and places like UT Austin, police taking things much too far.
Most detained demonstrators have not been charged with violent offenses, but there have been several instances of threatening and abusive behavior. Our Nancy Chen spoke to one Jewish student at Columbia University who grew up in Israel.
Many of us knew people or the music festival or that lived nearby. I'm sorry, I'm getting very emotional about that.
I can see you're getting emotional.
And adding to that, The situation where people scream hateful speech, who have harassed and attacked both verbally and physically people, is just making it impossible to be here.
Lukyanov says the lack of constructive dialogue between both sides on college campuses points to broader failures in American academia.
Campuses should be sort of citadels to self-reflection and asking yourselves, do I really understand this? Would I benefit from talking to someone that I disagree with? And I think that universities, particularly elite universities, have gotten really bad at doing this.
I talked to a lot of students who came out yesterday, in some cases just to see what might happen, maybe anticipating more chaos. What they saw instead was an event this time where both sides were able to have a voice. It did get a little emotional at times, but this time it never got out of control. Jason Allen, CBS News in Austin, Texas.
Back here at home this afternoon, we have more information on the robbery attempt in Little Rock that resulted with an armored truck driver opening fire. The person on the opposite end of the law, this man, lawyer Chad Green. He has since admitted to macing the armored truck driver in an attempt to rob him. Now, police say that is when the driver fired a shot at Green, who then fled the scene on a bicycle. It wasn't long after that, Green called the police on himself and was later arrested along I-430. In Jacksonville, a second person has been arrested in connection with a shooting earlier this week. Cannell Scott has now been taken into custody. Police got a tip about the gold van connected to the shooting at Galloway Park. They found the van and Scott at home a short time later. Wayne Lee Jr. was also arrested in connection with that shooting. Both now face first-degree battery charges and aggravated robbery charges, among others. New developments in the ongoing case involving former Arkansas State football player Blaze Taylor, who's accused of poisoning his ex-girlfriend, killing her and their unborn child. Taylor was arrested in Utah back in March following an extended investigation from Nashville, Tennessee police. That arrest met with charges of first-degree murder after his girlfriend Jade Benning died from what police say appeared to be an allergic reaction, just days after her unborn child died as well. Now, fast forward to yesterday, Taylor appeared in court for a hearing where he was given a bond set at $2.5 million. Benning's best friend describing in court the final phone call with Jade.
She started to say, you did this to me. You put something in my drink. I knew my drink tasted funny and I was like, Jade. She stopped responding.
Taylor is due back in court for another hearing that's set to take place May 9th. Heads up to parents this afternoon. You have just a little over a month to apply for the school voucher program. Earlier this month, Governor Sanders announcing the state will once again amp up its efforts to expand access to quality learning and plans to do that with this year's voucher program that can help with covering expenses for your child's education, which already has some private schools making adjustments as needed.
We're always anticipating the notion that we're going to be adding new students.
Now, that possibility could become more of a reality thanks to this program. The deadline to apply is June 1st, so mark your calendars. For additional details, just go to thv11.com. Well, hard to believe it has been over a year since a devastating tornado tore through communities across Arkansas. Some of those hard-hit areas still in the recovery process. Now, for one couple in Sherwood, the cleanup effort is being met with confusion. The home of Jason and Heather Bays was hit during last year's storm, leaving behind a damaged roof, as you can see, that they are still waking up to over a year later. And when a letter came in the mail threatening legal action if they did not fix the problem, the couple says they just couldn't make sense of it.
I get that they want to know and be in the know, but it's also frustrating at the same time for me to take a few extra steps out of my day just to let somebody else know, hey, something that I want done, fixed, I'm still working on it.
Now, the city says as long as residents respond or appear in court as requested, they will not risk any jail time. Just ahead here on THV 11, using AI for good. How doctors are hoping artificial intelligence can help them discover heart complications in patients. That's coming up next.
It's primarily quiet across central Arkansas right now, but that could change this afternoon into this evening. As the atmosphere becomes more unstable, we'll have to watch out for the potential of severe weather. More on that, not only for today, but also your Sunday coming up.